What if I told you the very thing you're proud of might be the reason you're exhausted, disappointed, and quietly hurting? Yeah. That thing everyone praises you for. Wow, you're so caring. You're too good for this world. You have such a big heart. Sounds like a compliment, right? But let me ask you something honestly. When was the last time someone asked how you are and actually stayed to listen? If that question hit a little too close, stay with me. Because today, we're talking about when caring too much becomes your weakness, and, trust me, this story might feel uncomfortably familiar. Let's start simple. Caring is beautiful. It's what makes you human. It's why people trust you. It's why you notice when someone's mood changes, even before they say a word. You remember birthdays. You reply fast. You forgive quickly. You check in. You overthink texts. You apologize, even when it's not your fault. You don't just care, you care deeply. And somewhere along the way, caring stopped being something you do and became something that drains you. Here's how it usually begins. You help once, then twice. Then it becomes expected. You listen once. Then you become everyone's free therapist. You forgive once. Then people realize they don't really need to change. And slowly, quietly, without any big dramatic moment, your kindness turns into a one-sided contract. They take, you give, they forget, you remember, and the worst part, they're not always bad people. They're just comfortable, knowing you'll understand. Comfortable knowing you won't leave. Comfortable knowing you'll stay silent to keep the peace. Let me give you a real-life example. You're tired, like mentally tired. You've had a long day, maybe a long week, maybe a long year. You finally decide, today, I'll rest. No drama, no explaining. And then, ping, a message comes in. Can I talk? I'm not okay. And instantly, your tiredness feels guilty. You think, if I don't reply, what if they feel abandoned? What if I'm being selfish? What if something bad happens? So, you reply, you listen, you comfort, you push your own exhaustion aside like it doesn't matter. And after hours of being there for them, you close your phone, stare at the ceiling, and realize no one asked how you were. That's not kindness anymore. That's self-neglect, wearing a halo. Now, here's something nobody tells caring people. Caring too much doesn't make you stronger. It makes you easier to ignore. Because when you're always available, people don't value your time. When you always forgive, people don't fear losing you. When you always understand, people stop explaining. Your kindness teaches people how to treat you. Read that again. Let's talk about the humor in this. Because if we don't laugh, we'll cry. Caring too much. People are the same ones who say, it's okay, I understand, while their soul is screaming, no, it's actually not okay. You say no problem. So often, even your problems believe they don't matter. You reply haha to texts that hurt you. You're emotionally bleeding and still asking, did you eat? That's not being nice. That's being emotionally overworked without overtime pay. And let's be clear, caring isn't the enemy. Unprotected caring is caring without boundaries is like leaving your house unlocked because you trust humanity. Sounds noble, ends badly. At some point, caring too much turns into these quiet habits. You over-explain your feelings so no one misunderstands you. You overgive so no one feels unloved. You overstay so no one feels abandoned. And in doing so, you slowly abandon yourself. That's the real danger. Not that people will hurt you, but that you'll keep choosing others over yourself until you don't recognize who you are anymore. Let me ask you something uncomfortable. Have you ever felt jealous of people who don't care as much? People who say no without guilt. People who leave when they're disrespected. People who sleep peacefully after choosing themselves. You think, how do they do that? Here's the truth. They're not heartless. They're selective. They care, but not at the cost of their. Here's where caring becomes a weakness. When you measure your worth by how useful you are. When love feels like something you have to earn by suffering. When you believe being needed is the same as being valued. It's not. Someone can need you and still not respect you. Someone can depend on you and still take you for granted. Love that only exists because you give endlessly isn't love. It's dependency. Now listen carefully. This part matters. You don't need to stop caring. You need to care with conditions. Care when it's mutual. Care when it's appreciated. Care when it doesn't cost you your peace. And yes, some people will be uncomfortable with the new you. They'll say you've changed, that you're distant, that you're not the same anymore. And you know what? They're right. You're not. You're tired of being everything for everyone and nothing for yourself. Here's a mindset shift that changes everything. Being kind doesn't mean being available 24/7. Being loving doesn't mean tolerating disrespect. Being understanding doesn't mean staying where you're hurting. You can have a good heart and strong boundaries. That combination, that's powerful. Imagine this version of you. You still care, but you pause before saying yes. You listen, but you don't absorb everyone's pain. You help, but not at the cost of your mental health. You stop chasing people who only show up when they need something. You stop explaining your worth to those committed to misunderstanding you. And suddenly, life feels lighter. Not because you care less, but because you finally care fairly. Let me leave you with this thought. If your kindness is only appreciated when it's convenient, it's not being honored. And if caring too much is breaking you, then caring differently is not selfish. It's survival. So keep your heart. Just stop handing it to people who don't know how to hold it. Because the world doesn't need less caring people. It needs caring people who don't disappear while saving everyone else. If this felt like someone read your diary out loud, you're not alone. And maybe, just maybe, it's time to care for yourself the way you care for everyone else.